All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. So I'm still trying to figure out whether Judas Priest was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or they're receiving a special award, which I guess qualifies them as an inductee to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a bit confusing. And if you're a patron on this channel and you have some insight, because apparently this is a special category that Judas Priest is being honored in. I'm trying to choose words carefully here because it's a little bit difficult for me at times. I think this is a little bit different, and there's an article that I can kind of share here, or at least read a little bit from. So Judas Priest Rob Halford says it's a good feeling to be inducted via Rock Hall's Musical Excellence Award. All right. As announced Wednesday, Judas Priest will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. So it does say they'll be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In conjunction, where those two things meet, I think that's what, a conjunction, junction, what's your function? I don't know. With receiving the Musical Excellence Award. Unlike inductees in the main performer category, which are chosen by the full list of eligible voters, Musical Excellence Award honorees are selected by a smaller committee. Frontman Rob Halford tells ABC Audio, whatever that is, that he has no qualms about his band being welcomed into the Rock Hall via the special category. So here's what this sounds like to me, all right? It sounds like they didn't give them, it's like the full college scholarship. They didn't give them the full boat, right? They gave them like an associate's degree or something. And they said, here, you're in, but you're not in via the normal way that you would get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Remember, Judas Priest finished behind Dolly Parton in the main voting, where, you know, you and I can vote multiple times for whoever we want to vote for. Eminem finished second. Duran finished first, I think. Pat Benatar, I don't know if it was second or third. Maybe Eminem was third. I want to say they were. I was just, you know, to think that fans of rock, again, this is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that they'd be voting in mass for Eminem is just kind of weird. But Halford either is putting a happy face on this, or I guess maybe this is some kind of compromise. I quite like the idea of the musical excellence, because here is a band that's been making metal from way back in the early 70s, and we're still making metal now, Halford notes. Equally, as I understand that this musical excellence refers to the quality of your music and the influence that your music has had. So it's covering a lot of important parts of Judas Priest, and that's a good feeling. Many of Judas Priest's fellow 2022 inductees actually come from outside of the rock genre, including Lionel Richie and Dolly Parton. Of course, they failed to mention Eminem here. I find Lionel Richie and Dolly Parton's inductions, albeit for some, you know, hardcore rock purists, they may think it's a problem. I think, especially in the case of Lionel Richie, he is just a pioneer in music, and obviously he has done, you know, R&B and soul music and country and pop, and yeah, there's some rock in there as well. So I don't look at him as, in fact, he is, in my estimation, he's equal to Michael Jackson as far as talent, just in a different way. But I don't have a problem with him getting in there. Anyway, getting back to the Judas Priest thing, it's a real display of the inclusivity of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he says, of the diverse class of 2022. So obviously, he has no issue with those non-rock artists, or those rock artists that kind of like their concentric circle just overlaps a little bit, right? The Priest members being inducted includes 3 members no longer in the group: longtime guitarist KK Downing and drummers Les Binks and the late Dave Holland. Halford says he hopes Downing, who's had a contentious relationship with his old bandmates since leaving the group, and Binks will both take part in the ceremony. Everybody being inducted from the band should be there, and I hope they will, says Rob. And I think that we'll get to that place, meaning that everybody will agree to go. I'm sure KK Downing is going to be there. And it'll be interesting for Priest fans to see that. But again, is this a full induction, or is it kind of like a special, we made like the participation trophy we made, and, you know, Johnny, you didn't win anything here, but over here, we're going to put your name on this trophy, and now, you know, you're part of the ceremony as well. I don't know if it's that bad. I don't know much about this stuff because it's kind of hard to follow. I mean, either you're in or you're not in. And it's weird because did anybody else get this special honor other than Judas Priest? I mean, maybe they just make this provision for somebody who comes close but doesn't quite make it. I'd have to look back, and that's why I probably need someone else who's more in tune with this stuff to look into it. But to me, it kind of seems like they kind of got in, or they got in good enough. You know what I mean? We're kind of in, so we're all just going to be happy with that. Maybe the Hall of Fame says, hey, this is a way to get all these people off our backs, even though we probably didn't want to put them in via the performance category, which I think still is sending the world of rock the wrong message that, hey, this music, especially hard rock and heavy metal, this stuff really isn't part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And it's tough to get rock bands of this style even nominated. And, you know, if we put them up for nomination, that's good enough. And we did that twice with Judas Priest. And now we're just going to put this issue to rest now. So in any event, people, if you're a Judas Priest fan, I think it's a victory. It's kind of a hollow victory, but it's a victory. And for everybody else trying to follow what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is all about, it's still incredibly confusing, and it doesn't make much sense. I mean, again, have a parallel institution, start it up immediately, do an award show, whatever it is, even if it's a smaller awards ceremony and all the usual suspects aren't invited. I'm sure the musicians would appreciate it, the ones who've been omitted. And we covered a list of 100 yesterday, and quite honestly, there's probably more like 200 if you really dig into this and find all of these bands who you know, America wasn't on that list, I don't think, the band America. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, you know, you've got the Beach Boys in, you've got the Eagles that are in, but America, I don't think they've even been nominated. And they're an incredible band, but they don't check any boxes. In fact, they probably lose points for various reasons. And I'm not going to discuss those here, but that's another band that deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All right, people, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Smack that bell if you want notifications on new videos. Patreon for $1 a month. I had a couple of patrons join yesterday for $1 a month. I appreciate the $1 a month. I know it's rough out there, but if you can help me out, I really appreciate it. And as always, I will see you soon.